I'm 37, and I've been married to my high school sweetheart, Anna, for 12 years. We have 2 kids, Emily and Jack, who are 10 and 8. For most of our marriage, everything seemed perfect. We had our ups and downs like any other couple, but I thought we were solid. Then everything changed about 6 months ago. Anna had always been dedicated to her work, but her job promotion meant she was working late a lot more. I was initially supportive, understanding that promotions come with increased responsibilities. But as weeks turned into months, her late nights and long hours became more frequent. She began to distance herself from me and the kids, and that's when I started to feel uneasy. One evening, as I sat at the dinner table with the kids while Anna was out again, Emily looked up from her plate and asked, "Dad, why isn't Mom coming home for dinner anymore?" It broke my heart to see the confusion in her eyes. "She's just busy with work, sweetheart. She'll be home soon." But the truth was, Anna wasn't coming home anytime soon. Her new friend Alex, whom she talked about more often, became a frequent topic in our conversations. She described him as a great help at work, someone who had been instrumental in her recent projects. It seemed innocent enough at first, but something about it felt off. I remember one night when Anna finally came home. She was clearly tired but made a half-hearted attempt to engage with the family. As she sat down at the dinner table, I decided to address my concerns. "Anna, you've been spending a lot of time with Alex. Is everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. She glanced up from her plate, her face etched with fatigue. "Dan, it's just work. I've told you this before. Alex is a valuable asset to our team, and we're working on some crucial projects." "I understand that," I said, "but it feels like you're never around anymore. We miss you." Anna sighed, her frustration evident. "I'm doing this for us. I want to ensure we have a secure future. Can't you see that?" Her words were meant to reassure me, but they didn't. I started feeling like there was something more going on, but I pushed it aside, hoping it was just my insecurities talking. Then, one evening, as I was cleaning up the kitchen, I found a letter in Anna's handwriting, left on the counter. It was addressed to someone named Mark. My hand shook as I opened it. The letter was an apology for something she had done and expressed regret for not being able to be with him. It was clear it wasn't a work-related letter. My heart sank. I confronted Anna about it the next day. "Anna, I found this letter. It's addressed to someone named Mark. What's this about?" I asked, holding out the letter. Anna's face went pale as she took the letter from me. "Dan, it's not what it looks like. It's from before we were married. I wrote it a long time ago." "Anna, the letter is dated just a few months ago," I said, my voice trembling. "How can you explain that?" Anna looked away, her expression conflicted. "I was trying to keep everything together. I made mistakes, but I was trying to protect our family." I wanted to believe her, but the letter's timing was suspicious. I decided to take action and order a DNA test, hoping it would put my fears to rest. It was a drastic step, but I needed to know the truth. I took samples and sent them off, waiting for what felt like an eternity. During that time, Anna's behavior became even more erratic. She began coming home late, reeking of perfume that wasn't hers, and constantly on her phone, even during family time. One day, I was picking up Emily from school when I saw Anna's car parked outside. I was surprised to see it there in the middle of the day. "Mommy's car is here," Emily said, looking puzzled. I tried to stay calm. "She must be here for a quick visit. Let's not worry about it right now." As I entered the house, Anna was just coming out of the bathroom, looking disheveled. "Dan, you're home early," she said, trying to sound casual. "I had to pick up the kids," I said, my mind racing. "I saw your car outside. What's going on?" Anna looked flustered. "I just came to grab some things I left behind. It's been a busy day." I didn't buy her explanation, but I didn't press the issue further. The following week, the DNA test results arrived. I was at work when I received the email notification. My hand shook as I opened it. The results were clear: neither Emily nor Jack were biologically mine. My world crumbled. I felt like I was suffocating, unable to grasp the enormity of what I had just discovered. I went home that night, my mind racing. I needed to confront Anna. When she walked in, looking tired and stressed, I knew it was the moment I had dreaded. "Anna, we need to talk," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Anna looked at me, her face a mix of concern and exhaustion. "What's wrong?" I handed her the DNA test results. "These are the results. The kids aren't mine." Her face went pale as she read the results. The shock in her eyes was followed by a wave of tears. "Dan, I'm so sorry." "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice breaking. "How could this happen?" Anna broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. "I made a terrible mistake. I've been unfaithful. I thought I could keep it hidden, but I was wrong." I was stunned. "How many? How many men have you been with? Anna looked away, her voice barely above a whisper. Several. Alex was just one of them. I didn't think it would ever come to this. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. Why? Why did you do this? I don't know, she said, tears streaming down her face. It started with one mistake, and then it spiraled out of control. I'm so sorry, Dan. I never meant for it to get this far. I was overwhelmed by a mix of anger and sorrow. The kids. They're not even mine. Anna nodded, her face buried in her hands. I know. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I couldn't stay there. I needed to be alone. I walked out of the house, my mind racing. The world I had known was shattered. I needed answers, but all I felt was an overwhelming sense of betrayal and anger. Over the next few days, Anna moved out. She found a small apartment nearby, but it didn't make the situation any easier. I had to explain to Emily and Jack why their mom wasn't living with us anymore. It was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had. Dad, where's Mom? Jack asked, his voice trembling. She's not living here right now, buddy, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. She needs some time away. Emily looked at me with tearful eyes. Is it because of something we did? No, sweetheart, I said, my voice cracking. It's not your fault. It's just, things have changed. I tried to keep things as normal as possible for the kids, but it was difficult. Their behavior became increasingly erratic. They missed their mom, and I could see the pain in their eyes. I did my best to provide stability, but it felt like I was fighting an uphill battle. In the midst of all this, I learned more about the men Anna had been involved with. Some were people I had considered friends or acquaintances. The betrayal felt even more profound knowing that they were complicit in the deception. I contacted them, trying to make sense of everything. One of them, Mark, was a close friend of mine. I confronted him one evening. Mark, we need to talk. He looked at me with confusion. What's going on? I showed him the DNA test results. Anna has been unfaithful. The kids aren't mine, and I've discovered that you were one of the men she was involved with. Mark's face turned white. Dan, I had no idea. I thought she was single. I'm so sorry. I could see the guilt in his eyes, but it didn't ease the pain. You're not the only one. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. Mark nodded, looking genuinely remorseful. I understand. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. The conversations with the other men were less productive. Some denied everything, while others were indifferent to the impact their actions had on my life. The lack of empathy from some of them only fueled my anger. I began exploring legal options, seeking advice on custody and asset division. I wanted to take control of the situation, to reclaim some semblance of power. The legal battles were exhausting. The divorce proceedings were emotionally draining, and every interaction with Anna felt like a reminder of the betrayal. We fought over custody arrangements, financial settlements, and the future of our children. It was a grueling process that left me feeling battered and defeated. One particularly difficult meeting was with our mediator. As we sat across from each other, the room felt heavy with tension. Anna's lawyer was presenting her side, arguing for a fair division of assets and joint custody of the children. I could barely focus on what was being said, my mind overwhelmed by the pain of it all. The mediator turned to me. Dan, do you have any questions or concerns? I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. I just want what's best for the kids. I want them to have stability and to know that they are loved. Anna's lawyer chimed in. Dan, I understand your concern, but we need to also consider Anna's position. She's trying to rebuild her life and needs a fair arrangement. I glanced at Anna, who was sitting across the table, her eyes downcast. Rebuilding her life? What about the life she destroyed? What about the trust and the family we had? Anna's lawyer tried to mediate, but the pain of the situation was too raw. This isn't just about dividing assets, I said. It's about the future of my children and the fact that everything I thought I knew was a lie. The mediator nodded, taking notes. We'll take everything into account. Let's try to work towards a solution that considers the best interests of the children. Despite the mediator's attempts to find a resolution, the process was slow and fraught with tension. The constant back and forth left me feeling drained. The legal battle seemed endless, and every step forward felt like 2 steps back. During this time, I sought support from friends and family. I tried to keep my children's lives as normal as possible, but it was clear that they were struggling. They missed their mother, and their behavior was increasingly erratic. Emily, in particular, became withdrawn and often asked me about her mom. Dad, when is Mom coming home? She asked one evening as we were reading a bedtime story. I don't know, sweetheart, I replied, my voice thick with emotion. She's not coming home right now, but I promise we'll get through this. Emily nodded, tears welling in her eyes. Amicia. I held her close, trying to comfort her. I know, honey. I miss her too. But we're a family, and we'll get through this together. Despite my best efforts, it was clear that the impact of Anna's betrayal was deep. The kids were affected in ways I couldn't fully understand, and the constant change in their lives made it difficult for them to find a sense of stability. One day, as I was cleaning up the living room, I found an old family photo album. I flipped through the pages, seeing pictures of happier times. It was a painful reminder of what we had lost. I found myself asking why this had happened and how things could have gone so wrong. I sat down with the album, memories flooding back. There were pictures of our wedding day, of birthdays, of vacations. Every photo seemed to mock the life we once had. I wondered how the woman I loved and trusted could have betrayed me so deeply. The weeks turned into months, and the legal process dragged on. I continued to focus on providing for Emily and Jack, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy. It was challenging, but I knew I had to stay strong for their sake. Anna's new relationship became public knowledge, and it only added to the turmoil. Seeing her move on so quickly was a bitter pill to swallow. I tried to avoid thinking about it, but it was impossible not to be reminded of her betrayal. I knew I had to focus on my own healing and on being there for my children. The therapy sessions were a crucial part of my healing process. My therapist, Dr. Miller, helped me work through the complex emotions I was experiencing. Dan, it's important to acknowledge your feelings, she said during one session. You're going through a significant trauma, and it's okay to feel anger, sadness, and confusion. I nodded, feeling the weight of her words. It's hard to process everything. I keep thinking about how things could have been different. Dr. Miller encouraged me to focus on self-care and to find ways to cope with the emotional pain. Healing takes time, Dan. It's a journey, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. As I worked through my emotions, I began to find small moments of peace. I reconnected with friends I had lost touch with and began to rediscover activities that brought me joy. I started jogging in the mornings, finding solace in the rhythm of my footsteps and the fresh air. One morning, as I was jogging through the park, I ran into Mark again. He approached me with a tentative smile. Dan, how are you doing? I appreciated the concern in his voice. I'm managing, I said. It's been tough, but I'm working through it. Mark nodded. I've been thinking about our conversation. I want to make things right. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. I was grateful for his willingness to make amends, but the damage was done. I appreciate that, Mark. Right now, I'm focusing on taking care of my kids and finding a new normal for us. The support from friends and family was invaluable. My parents, in particular, were a source of strength. They offered a listening ear and practical help when I needed it most. Their unwavering support helped me navigate the challenges of single parenthood and the ongoing legal battles. The custody arrangement was finally settled, with Anna having limited visitation rights. It was a difficult compromise, but it was necessary for the stability of the kids. I focused on providing a loving and supportive environment for Emily and Jack, helping them adjust to the new reality. One evening, as I was tucking Emily into bed, she looked up at me with a sad smile. Dad, are we going to be okay? I brushed a strand of hair from her face and nodded. Yes, sweetheart. We're going to be okay. We have each other, and that's what matters. Emily hugged me tightly, and I could feel her warmth and love. In that moment, I knew that despite everything we had been through, we were still a family. We had survived the worst, and we would continue to move forward. The road ahead was uncertain, but I had to keep moving forward. For the sake of my children and my own healing, I had to let go of the past and focus on the future. It wasn't easy, and there were days when I felt overwhelmed, but I found strength in the love I had for my children and the hope for a better future. I continued therapy and leaned on my support network. I found comfort in small routines and the little moments of joy that came with being a father. I focused on making positive changes in my life, finding new ways to connect with my children and create happy memories. As time went on, I began to see the effects of our turbulent past on Emily and Jack. They were adjusting, finding their own ways to cope with the changes. It was a long and difficult process, but they were showing signs of growth and healing. I remained committed to supporting them and ensuring they felt loved and secure. In the end, the experience taught me valuable lessons about trust, resilience, and the power of family. While the pain of betrayal would always be a part of me, I learned to channel it into positive actions and to focus on the future. The journey was far from easy, but I knew that as long as we had each other, we would find a way to move forward and build a new chapter in our lives. One day, as I watched Emily and Jack play in the backyard, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. Despite the hardships and heartache, I had come to a place of acceptance. I had learned to embrace the present and to look forward to the future with hope. As I stood there, watching my children laugh and play, I realized that while the past could not be changed, the future was still open to possibilities. I had the power to shape our lives, to create a new narrative for us, and to find happiness in the moments we shared. The scars from the betrayal were deep, but they were not insurmountable. I knew that healing was a continuous process, but I was learning to navigate it with resilience and hope. The road ahead would be challenging, but I was ready to face it with determination and a renewed sense of purpose. Thank you for taking the time to read my story. It's been a challenging journey, but sharing it has been a part of my healing process. I hope that by opening up about my experiences, I can offer some perspective to others who might be facing similar struggles. Life is unpredictable and sometimes harsh, but through it all, we find strength in our connections and in the love we share with those who matter most.